Right, right.
So that goes back.
Oh, you want to move it back? Hang on, yes.
Yeah,
it's a funny.
you see.
Yeah, it's a funny little car. I think. Funny seats. Right, let's get Portsmouth in the sat-nav.
Would you like to help yourself?
I'm good, thank you. I'm not going to have anything to eat or drink till we get there. I was only stopping off at the bathroom, which we can do if you need to, obviously.
Well, first things first, let me give you some money for your fuel.
If you've not got a card or anything, I was thinking you could just pay when they fill up or something.
No, I'm holding it.
Okay. Well, just shove it down in the glove. It's not even a glove box, is it? Put it into that thing. Cheers.
Don't forget it's there.
I won't.
I needed to get some specific change, so that's why I draw it out.
Okay, cool.
As much as I like to do everything through PayPal and online and such, I am much more comfortable sometimes every now and then to give physical money to people.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. So we're looking at about 2 hours, well, over 2.5 hours, and that's if the traffic.
Let's take M1 south and then 25 anti-clockwise, A3 south.
You got your seatbelt on? Yeah.
Yes.
Let's see where we end up. Where's the way to go?
Turn right onto Waterside.
Oh, I see. So this is how you record your journey.
Yeah, so it just like sits there recording. But for this one, I'll put music over the top, so you can't just hear us talking. Unless you want to turn it into a podcast or something, we have a chat, and we could talk about your film and stuff.
I do not mind. We've got a few hours to kill.
Be the motorways that especially if there's a traffic jam, it'll be like really boring.
Well, if you don't know this place, this is the waterside part of Pear Tree Bridge.
Okay, well, there's some birds crossing the road,
which leads across the canal over to Wolverton on the Green. That part of the area used to be farmlands.
Okay.
In a quarter of a mile, turn left.
Yeah, I've never been to this part of MK
south
before.
Mulberry Street.
That's why I said if you needed any help finding me, since you've only been here for a while.
Yeah. Well, I honestly, as long as I've got an address, the sat nav will.
In 1,000 feet,
get me there.
turn left. Then at the roundabout,
dinosaur.
take the
I
first
walked to that
exit.
thing the other day, actually.
Well, it's our famous
Yeah.
Triceratops statue.
Recently been done up, hasn't
It's always painted over, mostly every couple of times of every season. There is another
Turn left
one,
onto B40
but that's all the way in
South
Lakes
Mulberry
Estate
Street.
at the playground.
Then at the roundabout, take the first exit onto
As far as I
A421
remember,
East Standing Way.
Tyrannosaurus Rex.
it? No, yeah, I think I've seen pictures of that one on Facebook somewhere. It needs repair.
So have you did much with yourself lately?
At the roundabout, take
Mainly
the first exit.
working.
Then at the roundabout, take the first exit onto A421 East Standing Way.
Reassessing some older projects and stuff.
At the roundabout, take the first exit onto A421 East, Standing Way.
So roundabouts always take my concentration away. And there's a lot of roundabouts in Milton Keynes.
Yes, we are famous for the roundabouts.
Yeah. But it's been like reassessed. There's like a project I tried to make about 5 years ago, but it wasn't really the right time. But sort of I'm getting someone to potentially script
In
edit.
3/4 of a mile. At the roundabout, take the second exit
Once they've had a look at it, we might
A421
look at
East,
trying to
Standing
make
Way.
that one.
The story of my life with my project. But, have you found anybody that can assist or help you with
In
it?
half a mile.
Yeah, I
At
mean,
the roundabout,
so, well,
take the second exit.
obviously I'm in a different place than Portsmouth now. But I'm basically getting this script editor's like opinion, because obviously when you've written something yourself, you don't necessarily know how good it is, you know what I mean? You need to get some external opinion. Because he's like, he's a script editor, so he sort of knows what he's looking for.
What is your project called? If it's
At the
got a
roundabout,
title.
take the second exit
So there's a long story behind how it came about. It's actually called Invitation to Hell RSVP. There's a big out on the window.
Invitation to Housing.
So I'm just letting a big ant out. So it's like a schlocky horror potentially, or certainly. So it's based on an original film called Invitation to Hell, which was made by Michael J. Murphy in Portsmouth,
Standing Way.
which is like one of his. It's kind of like one of the films he's most known for. But it's like a reboot, a remake. Because so basically, Michael J. Murphy died a few years ago, and me and another guy have got remake rights to his back catalogue.
In 1,000 feet.
So
At
we're
the
looking at,
roundabout, take the second exit.
well, we're looking at Invitation to Hell as a reboot, remake type of thing.
That's quite amazing.
Yeah,
At the roundabout, take the second exit onto A421 East, Standing Way.
So he had a box set released by Indicator a few months ago now. It was basically all his surviving works. Because when he died, we found like surviving film assets in his loft and stuff. So we can get them scanned, but we handed them over to the guy
In
at
half a
Powerhouse.
mile. At the roundabout, take the second exit onto A421.
So you're just figuring out either to reboot it or remake it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some elements I want to keep the same. Like it's based.
In
For me, a
1,000
big
feet.
set
At the
piece
roundabout,
is they
take
go
the
to a
second
big
exit.
party, and I just like this idea of a horror film set at a party. Just in terms of like, getting it made is like
At the
you
roundabout,
just need
take
to
the
have a
second
party and
exit
film it
onto
kind of thing. It's not that
A421.
simple, is it? But
Well, I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out once you've had some good real
In half a
time
mile.
to go
At
through
the
everything.
roundabout, take the
Yeah,
second
exactly,
exit
exactly.
onto A421.
As for me, I only did a little job for a filmmaker by rewriting their script.
In
online.
1,000 feet. At the
For a bit of
roundabout,
money.
take the second exit.
Cool.
that's cool.
I've not done anything filming wise myself. I'm planning to get back into
At the roundabout,
YouTube,
take the second
as it
exit
has
onto
been about
A421.
a year and a half now. But I'm just waiting till I have myself a shower, do my hair up,
Right.
and have myself a little quick extra shave.
In
And then
half a mile,
sit
at
in
the
the living
roundabout,
room,
take the second exit
get my
onto
camera out.
A421.
and I've got several other footage which I've got on standby on my computer ready. Some music, some extra footage.
What sort of thing are you going to film for your channel?
Just an update and explanation video.
Okay, right, got you.
In
Yeah.
1,000
Where have I
feet,
been
at
and
the
all that.
roundabout,
But
take
yeah, I
the
mean,
second
hopefully you'll get
exit.
some footage today of various locations. So we've got at least 3 we're going to look at, haven't we? So we're going to look at, I'm not really sure what they're called,
At the
but on
roundabout,
the
take
seafront in
second
Old
exit
Portsmouth,
onto A421.
it's where they used to, it's like pillboxes where they used to have the guns for the Second World War defences. But not like, you know, like big floor-mounted guns. And there's like an area that's kind of, it's not really, I suppose it's not like really long tunnels, but it's just an area that I think, you know, it might work. for
In
what you're looking
1.8
for.
miles, at the roundabout, take the second exit
Then there's Hillsy
onto
Lines, which is like a
towards
forest
M1.
area, but that has like tunnels underneath, there's a big wall thing there. And you can actually get up on the wall as well. Although it doesn't really, it seems like a big mound, it doesn't seem like a wall. And then there's that cave entrance at Portsmouth Hill, which I've never been there before, and I still don't quite know where it is, although I've looked at the directions and pretty confident we'll be able to find it. So that's 3, and then, you know, well, we'll see where we are after that, I guess.
Try and search for as many locations as we can.
Yeah.
I don't need to get back. I'm currently on my first week of holiday.
Right, yeah.
So
Yeah, and I've got
It
a day
all-
off.
it all depends when
At the
you want to
roundabout, take
return
the
back to
second
Milton
exit.
Keynes.
When the traffic's at its lowest point, which well, won't be till quite well. We'll see how the day goes. But if we don't get to leave before 4 p.m, which is probably unlikely, then I'd rather just stay until quite late, till like 7 or 8 p.m, and avoid as much traffic as possible. Because otherwise, you know, it's like a super boring, tedious drive, unfortunately. And the reason we're leaving like this time, like 9:30, I mean, a lot of the time I would leave at like 4, 5 a.m. to avoid a lot of traffic.
Watch out, accident
I've
reported
done it
ahead.
many times before with people who have driven me.
At the roundabout,
Like
take the
my
second
sister,
exit onto
she took me all the way
A421
to
towards M1.
Devon.
Well, yeah, that's a long way. But yeah, the reason we leave like now, even though like 9:30, you think it'd still be busy, and it will be busy. It won't be as busy as it is after like 11 a.m. It's like people do a couple of hours in the office and then they'll start moving around. Logistics happen, don't they?
So again, the location needs to be at least in a cave, a mine, bunker, anything that's underground, and it needs to be like a big space, lots of places to explore, and the slight potential of getting lost. That's the ideal location I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure any of these 3 places are potentially big enough in terms of like the enclosure to get lost in, but like Hillsy Lines is in Fox's Forest, so if it was a case of getting lost in the forest, and then there is like tunnels that go under this wall thing, and then the pillboxes are actually above. They're like you have to go up some stairs, but again, the whole area along the seafront, has some interesting places.
Well, I brought my camcorder with me for any extra footage and photos
In
to
900
take.
feet, at the roundabout, take the second exit. Then at the roundabout, take the third exit. At the roundabout, take the second exit. Then at the roundabout, take the third exit onto M1 towards London.
I'll know when I get a good feel for it.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Like I say,
At the roundabout, take the third exit.
I'm not really a
onto M1
locations
towards
manager. It
London.
sounds like you need to sort of contact, there's like local authority film units where, they have all these places on file, and you kind of say what you're looking for, and they will suggest your local places.
I have done this for many, many, many years, and every location they have directed me to, I have to pay for, which
Right.
I do not have.
Right.
Like £1,300, that's something I will never have. The only way I will have that amount is if I won through gambling.
Yeah, that's a bit of a chance there.
And with my current situation at the moment,
Go straight on
looking
for
for
25
somewhere
minutes
more
to
that's
junction 6A
looking
to
for, sorry,
M25.
abandoned or public
Yeah.
use,
Yeah.
so that I can use the money to focus more on paying the actors and paying for everyone's car, fuel, food
Yeah.
and drinks and whatnot.
And that's why you might have to, when you're looking at these things we look at today, you might have to think in your mind about adapting a little, because I don't think any of them are quite what you're looking for. But you might, and obviously when you're filming as well, a lot of the story is like it's what you put in the frame, isn't it? So you can suggest that it's underground, even if these pillboxes, like I say, they're kind of like on a mezzanine, but you can suggest that it's underground just by the surrounding scenes and how you film it. And that obviously then ties into how you edit and stuff.
That's why I'm also seeing if there's any mines or quarries or bunkers or anything. Because in my script in the story, it's supposed to be like a mine factory shifting from mithril material. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a cave.
Yeah.
But because I've just about filmed everything in Milton Keynes, there comes a time where I need a different location.
So if they're mining for mithril, is that like an elven sort of situation? Is that like an elven environment, like elves and stuff?
Yeah, it's more than
So
license for fantasy.
so would something like a forest potentially be more useful? As in, like, I'm thinking like Fox's Forest. Well, I mean, we'll obviously look at all of these anyway. But Fox's Forest might be the place, and maybe Intercut if you need like them chipping at a coal, a mining bit. Do that in the cave on Portsmouth Hill, maybe. I don't know.
Milton Keynes doesn't have every location that I require.
No.
And it's not like I filmed any of my own projects outside of Milton Keynes because it's the lack of travel
Yeah.
and it's knowing some of the places, which I do have a good fair amount, like Bedford, Northampton, Cambridge, Oxford, anywhere that's like a hand's grab stretch from Milton Keynes. But any specific location, I have to find it and check it out.
Yeah. No, I get, it's totally, I understand that you want to visit, you have to visit a place before you're going to film there to see if it's suitable. Because even photos can't quite give you the experience of being there.
Once I've completed the Stantonbury story arc, next I'll be looking at mountains, which of course Snowdonia is the ideal place. That can wait until after.
Yeah.
arranging my team together.
I mean, it sounds like you could do with like a sort of producer, production coordinator or something as well.
Well, I've had
Because
to
like,
do-
because if it, you know, I know from experience doing stuff on your own, it's a lot of energy you need, and a lot of commitment, and there's a lot of organisation. When really you probably just want to be creative.
my day. But that's why I've got my weeks, or 7 to 10 days worth of free time from work every 2 weeks, so that I can relax and do some more work at home. And whenever there's any freelancing work, which there will be for me soon, because it's summer holiday, that's where I'll be earning quite a lot of the extra money through my usual contacts.
What do you typically do over the summer holiday for freelance?
Besides hibernating from the sun, usually I take the time to go swimming, or if it's filmmaking wise, I get in contact with some people, usually the usual contacts, where I earn like a good amount of a couple of £100.
Yeah. So you've got like a group of people you already work with, or you know well enough that they regularly work with you, or hire you.
Yeah, if they've got the open slot, that is. Because usually they need actors, and I only helped them as an actor about 4 or 5 years ago in a big feature film. Other times it's usually extras or filming behind the scenes, which they really appreciate that, because they do a lot of setup. They don't have the time to do any behind the scenes with all the directors and producers and actors, because they have to pack it up, pack it down and up once more every location that they move to. So they are very grateful that I take the opportunity to walk around and just film everything and anything. Get a bit of interviews with some people.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Although acting I'm still quite fairly good with, but it isn't my strong point, since I haven't put much time into polishing my acting skills with other filmmakers. When it comes from my own, it's super easy.
Right.
The only time I was patrolling as an actor was for a vampire film, which I was playing the lead antagonist.
Sounds good.
And there's some stunts that they appreciate me for doing, because I'm physically capable of doing it.
What sort of stunts were they?
Well, the biggest one I can think of, the top of my head, is in the vampire film where I was about to be killed. My body was impaled by a crane, which has been sliced up into like a spike hook.
Right.
Because one of my powers is that I can take the vampire cape and turn it into bat wings, but it becomes so sharp that they're like blades. And I'm slicing away at it until the heroes manage to knock it way into me, though I'm still alive. And then I was hanging over mid-level of the ocean, because this was on a ship.
Yeah.
And they cut the chain, and it's supposed to fall into the ocean attached to this spike crane that's impaled me, and I'm sinking into the ocean. So the stunt is that I had to be attached to the crane and sink.
Yeah.
And they've had some divers underneath give me some air because I have to be underwater for a good amount of time. Like 10-15 minutes.
Wow, that sounds pretty scary actually. As someone who doesn't like water, because I don't like water. You're obviously quite confident in water. I suppose you've got divers there as well, so.
I may have a bit of phobia of the ocean because of the whole sharks incident happening here and there. But it's not like I take a dip in the ocean every time. The only time I took a dip was on my YouTube channel when I went back to Brighton in November and I swam in the ocean whilst holding the camcorder. But then I had decided that I should head back to shore because otherwise I would have drowned and died.
Yeah, not the best outcome if that happens.
I was putting myself in quite danger.
Yeah.
Because the recent news I heard is that there is a sudden drop in the ocean bed once you go further into the ocean.
Oh yeah, they can be, yeah.
And this was in November, so it's freezing cold. So I was in there for about 15 minutes swimming. It took me about more than 5 minutes swimming back. And I'm struggling back while holding the camcorder above water on my tri-stick. And I plastered a message during editing of what was going on. But thankfully I'm quite the strong swimmer, even in the most difficult of swimming circumstances. My tri-stick was useful. I used it as like a rowing stick until I reached the bed so that I could stand on it. And then it was just calmly swimming back.
So have you got, was your camcorder waterproof?
No. I did damaged it, but I still recorded everything alright.
Yeah.
But I saved it by using the old trick of dipping it with some dried rice.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Which absorbs the water from inside. But it's not that often that I go in the ocean. But filming wise, that's the only time I've actually was in the ocean.
Were you filming part of a scene there, or was that just?
Yeah, that was my death scene.
It's part of. Got you. Yeah.
Other stunts have been like jumping from one bridge to another, like quite a feat. A lot of the times there's been fight scenes and physical contacts where I've told the actors that you need to make it a little more real. Let's make it a little more real. Like when I told one scary skinhead actor that when you need to slap me, put a bit more mid to above average force, so that's like so it makes like a good slap.
So you actually contact.
I did something like that once before with a filmmaker in Milton Keynes named Simon Ram. We were filming in his garage, and the actor who was supposed to be like some person who's chained up, being tortured by a boss man named Bishop, couldn't make it, so I stepped in, and I had fake makeup, fake blood, fake cut, and being punched and kicked, and I admit that I did quite a good job.
Yeah.
Although the guy who's the henchman punching and
Sounds very physical work.
And fight scenes, I wanted that to be real as possible because I have a knack for Jackie Chan's films.
Okay.
Especially those in the Chinese films in the 80s.
Yeah.
Because all their fighting are real, non-stop.
Yeah.
And they make it super effective when they use something called power powder.
Right.
So when someone gets hit very hard, they have it either on their fists or on their shoe.
Right.
And it has like a dust.
Oh, God. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's really cool.
So I have the love and inspiration to have fight scenes to look real. Although some of the directors didn't want that, but they were confident to give me a go, and some scenes made it look real. Like one time I said to the director that this guy he's punched me in the nose, pretend. So I said for him to slightly punch my nose, which even though it was a minor punch, it still hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Because
Watch
the
out.
scene,
Vehicle on shoulder ahead.
because the scene he was adding is that I was supposed to be punched in the nose and have it bleed on camera. So even though being punched in the nose, I couldn't do it at the time. In case he accidentally broke my nose, I said, why don't you slightly punch my nose, minor, and then I'll tell him to, during editing, speed it up, and then put like a blood capsule that releases once he punches my nose, which I put it in my nose socket. So when he does punch my nose, it will crack, and then blood will start pouring down, which makes good effect. I got that idea from one of Jackie Chan's films, Dragons Forever. Although the punch was like super fast, you couldn't see it, but on camera his nose was fine, but then his nose started bleeding. It's unsure whether it was real or not, which I can't actually tell.
Yeah, it's difficult. I mean, because obviously with Jackie Chan stuff, sometimes they do actually, like, especially the early movies, they do sometimes get hurt for real, and they like leave it in them.
So you could say I've got the highly confidence to do stunts because of the Jackie Chan films that I love watching. I've got like 70 odd DVDs of him, and I'm still fascinated by his #1 world record of his most dangerous stunt. If you've ever seen the film Police Story.
Yeah, that's one of the first of his films I saw.
So you've seen the scene in the mall.
I saw it a long time ago, because what was that like? That's like an early 90s film, is it?
80s.
80s, oh yeah, okay. I think I saw it probably late 80s, early 90s.
So the scene is that he's trying to get this briefcase which has evidence to prove that he's innocent, because he was trained by a drug person. But this drug boss manages to get the briefcase on the ground floor, and he's like up on the 5th floor. So he's trying to see if he can get down there quick. So his biggest stunt was, which was real life threatening, is that he jumped on this metal pole pillar from the 5th floor to the ground.
Right, yeah.
But it's surrounded by the lights, and it's also hot. So as he jumped on it, he smacked away all those lights, which caused like an electrical effect. And because the pole didn't reach the ground floor, he fell through the glass from a shop that was slightly broke to his fall, but got him to the ground floor to catch the drug boss. So that is his #1 famous stunt, and there's no one that's been able to top that, because he burnt his hands, he was almost electrocuted, and he almost fell to his death. especially in films too. But he did stutter sometimes, which showed in the deleted scenes. I think one of the films was with the actor Owen Wilson, right, in the film Shanghai Nights, I think it was called. Yeah. He was stuttering his lines, like he was trying to say bandits, but he was saying dentists. In one scene, he was supposed to say baby sister, but he said babysitter. But he's got fairly good English now.
Oh yeah.
And all films from the 70s and 80s and slightly in the 90s, they were voice dubbed. But they had to be voice dubbed anyway, because we couldn't watch the films without them getting ported to Europe.
It was definitely, I remember sort of growing up through the 90s and whatnot, and there was a lot of buzz around like Jackie Chan films and stuff. There still is, I suppose.
Slightly is, but people have begun to dislike him because of his support of certain Chinese factors and unions. And then there's the fact that he has a daughter which he is not met and that he's neglected. Might be a few others, but he still shows in films here and there, which, if it's possible, watch him, buy them on DVD, put them towards my huge pile. There's still a couple I haven't got because they were never ported to Europe on DVD. And even though there are some on Blu-ray, I'm not a Blu-ray person. At least maybe not yet.
Use the second lane from the left to exit left onto junction 6A to N25.
Like one of the films, Super Cop, right, that was never ported to DVD, although it was released on video in Europe. Yeah. But they only released it in Europe on Blu-ray. So I bought a English-American DVD. I think it's an R2, which can only be played in America and Canada, because my DVD player is multiplayer. Okay. So I can play all regions. Yeah. So as long as I have one of those, then I'm all good. But if possible, I buy a UK DVD.
Yeah.
So when it comes to stunts, Jackie Chan is my inspiration, including fight scenes as well, Chinese martial arts, or any sort of martial arts. And then it's taking the lessons from the olden days to how independent filmmakers can make full use of it.
Yeah.
Because the way with Hollywood films, there's lots of mistakes.
Use the right 2 lanes to keep right.
There's just lots of mistakes during editing or certain scenes.
I think a lot of modern Hollywoods, well, I mean, I suppose like Disney's a good example of just like not being very good filmmakers anymore, and they're just money makers. They're just trying to make money, trying to make films.
Yes, the live action Disney films.
I don't know, I think it's a shame that they don't take a chance on like new ideas, and it's just the same old stuff. And not that there's room for both, right? You can still make stuff out of old stuff, but also, you know, make some new stuff, and then you might have people go to the cinema.
I do admit the live action Disney films is great to see. They're good, but that's just about it. think they
Go
went
straight on
downhill.
for 35 minutes to junction 12 to M3.
I think they went downhill once they got past the jungle book.
Yeah, I've not seen any of the live action ones. Not the ones where they remade like the cartoons. But I've heard that
American animation.
I've heard that they're decent, you know.
They're American animation, not cartoons.
Right.
Cartoons are Tom and Jerry, Looney
Right.
Tunes.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Sorry to correct you, I know. I get the same issue with people when they can't tell the difference between cartoons and Japanese anime.
It's genre. I guess, yeah. I guess the overall genre is animation.
The baddest one yet was, of course, The Lion King, as that was my second Disney film I loved watching when I was a child. But you can't put real facial emotion on a real life lion. It just can't work. I thought Pinocchio was good. It certainly sorted some of the controversies of the 50s version. But even then, that film wasn't good. I think after when they started it with Cinderella, The Jungle Book, what was the next one they made? Dumbo was pretty
Yeah,
alright.
there's loads actually, haven't they, when you think about it? Yeah, they've all passed me by. Like, I'm just not interested. But I don't doubt that they're decent. I mean, my daughter saw Aladdin. It's got Will Smith in it, isn't it? And she said that was good. You know, she enjoyed that one.
That was above average. Will Smith he's great as comedy actor, which is what Robin Williams was. But when it comes to the singing, it was bad.
Right.
Some of the little story plots in the film didn't match up to the original.
Right.
And I don't understand why you would turn Iago into a giant parrot instead of Jafar turning into a giant king cobra. Beauty and the Beast was pretty swell. I quite like that. But again, Emma Watson, brilliant portraying as Belle, but not the right native person for singing portray as Belle. Because Emma Watson's British and the original voice actress is American. So the level of it did not hold up to its original. But the British actor who played Gaston, he was a fantastic fit, and he does have the singing voice.
Right.
He has the high note. They fixed several mistakes from the original.
So do you think that's what they're doing with the live action ones? Do you think they're like trying to make them just modernise them, and like say fix anything that hasn't aged well?
Yeah.
Estimated time in traffic, 22 minutes.
Live action, it was actually a very fantastic idea to do. And staying true to its original of the American animations, but also change certain things that were today's age not supposed to be shown to kids. Like Pinocchio, there was smoking.
Alright.
And they took that out from the live action. And like Beauty and the Beast, man dressed in women's clothing and makeup was like why each of them is failing. I haven't even got round to watching my favourite Disney film, which is The Little Mermaid. I think I might see it soon once I get my next wages in a couple of days. But even then, I heard reviews that it was going to fail, and it did. And of course it's because of people's portray that the character Ariel is not white. But I don't care about skin colour. Her singing from the trailers really grasped me, but now I just got to see how her acting is and how the story works. If they're going to add some extras, keep it some originals or what. I did hear that the film is at least twice as long from the original, and people have been falling asleep and not being able to pay attention as long because of how long it is. But nonetheless, I'll still watch it. Regardless if they're okay or if they're bad or super bad, I'll still watch it because it's there. I'm quite curious about the Peter Pan one, which they actually called it Peter Pan and Wendy instead of just Peter Pan. Interesting. And once part I saw in the trailer is when they've added girls to the Lost Boys. Because in the original American animation, people are saying that the Lost Boys, just boys, is sexist. But that was just how it was. In other similar Peter Pan fairy tales, like Hook, that had all boys. But Disney decided to put a couple of girls in the group, the Lost Boys, because of transgender and non-binary people who identify themselves as boys or men even though they're female. But it is true, this is the era that Disney is now, just cashing in.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, when you think about it as well, that like audiences over the last 40 or 50 years have diluted from the cinema into like video games and, you know, lately like video streaming and YouTube and stuff. So whereas back in the day you could watch TV or go to the cinema, now you've got all these other things you can do as well. So the film, in my eyes, the film would better be bloody good for me to go to the cinema to see it. And most of the time they're not, they're just average. And if it's an average film, I'd rather just watch it at home, if I'm honest.
If it saves you money paying at the cinema, then you should definitely do it.
I keep reading, like there's an Indiana Jones film out at the moment that it's just not doing very well because it's like people just aren't going out to see it at the cinema. And it's, from what I read, it's doing okay. But because the budget was so huge, even though it's doing alright, it's probably not going to make its budget back, which deems it a failure, right? In terms of like accountancy and stuff. But that's one I'll watch at home at some point, probably on Disney Plus or something, or some other method.
I've not been too much into Indiana Jones. I have watched all the previous films with the actor Harrison Ford. I've not seen the series, even though I bought it for my mum for her birthday and Christmas presents, volume 1, 2 and 3. All the single feature films of young Indiana Jones. If an opportunity comes and
estimated time and traffic, 16 minutes.
Like if I visit my sister and we're looking for something to watch, I'll suggest that to watch it. 'Cause I need to visit her eventually.
I just found, because I watched those films in the cinemas when they were first released, and they worked well in the 80s. The Crystal Skull, which was what, 2008. That was just like disappointing, and so I've just got no interest to see the one that's out at the moment. Certainly not at the cinema.
The only one I watched in the cinema was the Temple of Doom.
Right.
Back then.
Yeah, and I've got good memories of the 80s in the cinema, definitely.
Yeah. The 80s was the platinum era, that's for sure. Everything was just right.
Yeah, it seems that way, doesn't it?
Made, that came out, the era we were in, it was just perfect.
Nothing lasts forever though, so but there'll be other sort of golden ages in media. It's comes and goes, doesn't it? I guess.
Several things do last forever, like history and culture, and films and video recording. As long as they're preserved, they definitely last forever.
Well, they last for as long as society lasts. Societies don't last forever. But we're talking thousands, tens of thousands, maybe millions of years, aren't we? Not even the sun will last forever.
Well, we don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about it, because we don't last forever. So there's the upside. But yeah, certainly things they will last for lifetimes.
That's why I do a lot of filming and photo taking, because I definitely want them to last forever. I did slightly regret that when my mum passed away. I did, because I haven't done any video recording of my mum then. But I still have plenty to look back on, and a few which was only like a month or 2 months ago. Interacting with my niece and nephew.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I haven't lost my parents yet, but I'd imagine it's pretty tough losing parents. Especially since you're a bit younger than me as well. So. Quite a bit younger.
You're only in your young 40s, aren't you?
No, I'm young 50s, mate.
Oh, crikey.
But like you, it's clean living. But neither of my parents are in a particularly great way. Like my mum's physical health isn't great, and my dad's mental health. He's got Alzheimer's, dementia, so he's in a nursing home probably for another year or two before he dies, I would imagine. I don't know why. We said that 2 years ago and he's still here, so he's clinging on. But so have you lost both your parents? I can't remember.
I just told you about my mum.
And you've
But
you've lost your dad as well.
Yeah, my dad died 13 years ago.
Right.
He was 60 of natural causes. But he was going to die anyway, because he had fatty liver, as he was an alcoholic,
Right.
and he was developing lung cancer. And my mum was from a bleed on the brain from her second stroke. So that is why it's been tough on me.
No, I can imagine.
The creative, emotional pain, emotional suffering, where I haven't been able to get involved as the usual activities.
rush things.
I do hope so. My project has been going on for a very long time. It's not even ready yet. And I had a bit of a scare because my nan ended up in hospital from a mini stroke herself. She had an operation and she's alright. She's alive and well. And I definitely want to see her, as I want to film my nan as the narrator. My book is ready. I just need to write some sort of script to explain. Watch a bit of films who have some narrator dialogues with subtitles on, like Lord of the Rings, for example, and then just work it from there. Do some nighttime filming in Camera Park, or early morning, like 3 o'clock. No one's responded to my message, even though the message I said was non-profit. So I think this time I'll try again at a later date and offer something and see who's available to come. I only had one person respond, but even then I need at least 5, maybe more.
Yeah. So sort of like half of sort of 5 or 6 minimum.
Another idea is if I can make time to go to a LARP event, I could ask some volunteers and find a spot when it's nighttime and to film them so that it's more realistic to the whole fantasy idea. Humans, orcs, elves, etc. I eventually need to get my friend Stellian from London to come, because he's supposed to be one of the heroes in the prologue story who gets killed by me. We've done our sword choreography and it's on camera, so when we get down to it we just need to study and review it and then just play it out. Someone who also has a drone, because I want to get those sky view footage, like one where it goes through some clouds and it slowly comes down between me as the villain and the hero fighting fiercely until it's closer, and then cut, flip it to the next scene.
Yeah, that sounds interesting.
I haven't begun to ask anyone yet. It's still early days. I'm sure I can find someone. And then it's just editing it all together. Season 1 is already ready. I just need to tweak it with some opening intro and end intro during editing. Some episodes in season 2 are ready, so that's another plus. And then it's just carry on with the story, the script, the filming, and then put it together whenever I can. It's also time that's being taken away when I have to work all day at my job
Yeah.
for money.
Yeah, day jobs can be annoying.
Luckily I don't start till afternoon, so if I need to work through half the night, I'll have more than enough sleep. Curfew is like 5 o'clock in the morning, and then I can sleep till about 20 minutes past 2.
Right.
Start work at 4, but any days that are earliest, like Saturday, only to go to bed a few hours early, wake up at 20 minutes past 12. And then when I finish work, do whatever film work I can at home. And days off, it's pretty much the same thing. I do take time to watch some anime, films, play some games on my PS4 console, YouTube, and etc. Just to take a break from it.
But no, it's good. It's good that you've got like a focus of your filming and stuff. You know, it's like you've got that end goal in mind and stuff.
My next step, if possible, is that I would like to leave my job and work somewhere in the film industry, because I'll be in my environment then. And with people who understand that I've got a career of a filmmaker, a freelancer, but at the same time in the environment where all my skills that I've developed over the decades can be put to use. But we don't exactly have that in Buckingham.
Although
Not really.
there's some big studios, well, the National Film and Television School used to, I don't know if it still is in Bucks, and isn't there, I'm sure one of the, where's Leavesden? Oh no, that's Hertfordshire.
Some are too far away. The closest one I can think of would be in London.
Yeah, so there's like Ealing,
Pinewood
there's
Studios.
Pinewood. So there's Pinewood not in Bucks, it's always on the border.
Or maybe a film
But, yeah,
company
but-
that's not known.
But obviously, you know, Buckinghamshire is like, it's a big county, right? It's not like so yeah, it's not like it'd still be too far away.
I did hear news that they were going to be building one in Buckingham, but I don't know where exactly.
Well, where's Shepperton? Maybe that's Surrey. Yeah, I'm not sure. They're all sort of like, closer to London. Well, everything's closer to London because it's just, there's a lot of kind of talent in London in there that don't want to travel too far.
For now, I'll stick with my job, as the work I do is simple. I've got the freedom to do what I want, help out however I want, the flexibility, get good wages and paid every week instead of having to wait every bloody month.
Yes, you know, it sounds like, you know, you've got a sustainable lifestyle going, so
Most importantly is working 4 days per week instead of 5. So I get more time to do my filming or work, filming wise. If that opportunity arises, I'll make an attempt. But for now, I'm alright where I am.
do you subscribe to any like job hunting websites or anything? Because I know, I mean, it is only a teeny tiny studio on an industrial estate, but the one I work at, they often advertise, well maybe not often, but when they do advertise, they tend to advertise on Indeed when they're looking for like a producer or something, or you know, it's,
I couldn't find anything like that.
yeah, like I say, they don't advertise very often.
Not on Indeed. I spent 2.5 years from the work at Dobby's trying to get out of there. It was only by good fortune that I was able to apply at Turtle Bay. And all because they needed a pot washer, and because I've got 6.5 years because of a technicality, I was employed. And I liked my manager very much, and all the benefits were just right, what I was looking for. He's no longer there now because he fucked up when he stole money from the safe, because he is a recovering gambling addict. Although I was very disappointed in him, but I still liked him as a working manager. He was nice to me, he was helpful, gave me the right instructions. We got along well. That's what I found important. And this new manager named Wakas, he's Indian. He's alright. He's okay. He's been supportive, he's been backing me up, but there comes a time where he doesn't, or he's not that quite helpful. Like Father's Day on Sunday, I said to him that I wanted to start at 1 and not at 3 o'clock, because by the time I start work later in the afternoon, there's just so much shit piled up on my shelf next to my pot wash machine that nobody washes anything until I actually start. And there was just so much to do, and luckily it was average, but then again, I even prefer someone who could be a substitute, or at least let me start earlier so that I can control it. And I've been having shit problems with this new sous chef named Marcin, because he was patronising me, telling me how to do my job, so I gave him quite a good lip, which intimidated him, because I've got quite a voice. He's more of a 60-40% kind of person. Other times I rely on my knowledge and skill sets and speak to any other managers, floor manager, deputy manager. They've been most helpful. So it's not that often that I ask for Wakas's help. As long as everything is balanced, that's all I care about. Get through the day, get home to relax, have my mind rejuvenated, and then see and do some work, or any work that I've taken up some jobs from other filmmakers, like that script writing. All he wanted me to do was just retype it. From the script that he's given me, or maybe do some voice acting, because I do try and put myself out there for voice acting a lot. And it wasn't that long ago that I asked my friend and actor Mark to voice dub for this troll monster Razuli, part of the same project of mine, the Final Fantasy trilogy. I was going to get an actor and see if he can control his voice, but because the actor's going to be wearing a troll mask, I don't think it would really matter. And he volunteered last year that he wanted to voice like a villain character or a monster character, so I gave him the opportunity. So now I just need to find someone who wants to play the troll monster, which the acting is super easy. It's just all body language and following my instructions on camera. And if he's got a car, or she, then that'll be a plus.
see, that's the problem. I don't think I know what I want to do anymore. When I was younger, I knew I wanted to make films, and I knew I wanted to work in media and sort of understand the media a bit more. And in my own way, I feel like I've done both of those things. Like I've made films, and I now, I wouldn't say I have a full understanding of the media, but I know how the media works more than I used to. But then at the same time, I am working at this small studio in Milton Keynes, so I'm sort of, well, I suppose I am working it. It's broadcast. They send stuff out to Sky and the web.
The one in Crown Hill you mentioned.
Yeah. So it's all quite lowbrow, but it's there's lots of creative people there and stuff.
Did you say lowbrow?
Yeah, as in it's stuff like direct shopping TV. Yeah, so like QVC type stuff, or pre-recorded.
I've heard about them. I believe they're the same group that have been making these parody comedy of Sonic for Hire, using these pixel art imageries of Sonic and Tails and all other characters.
I don't think it's the same people. But yeah, like I say, that's like shift work. And what I do is tech support, which is it's not overly creative, although sometimes you have to come up with creative solutions. But I do work closely with like other sort of production crew and any sort of performers and whatnot that turn up, because they broadcast out live to the web. But the stuff that they actually do broadcast some stuff live out to telly as well. But it's not the filmmaking I'm used to, right? That is more like a TV type setup, broadcast. Whereas filmmaking is like you film your stuff and then you go away and edit it. This is like you're sending it out live, so you better know what you're doing, sort of thing.
So it's just like me. You want to make your own, but you also want to work with other filmmakers.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why I've been sort of reaching out to sort of people in Milton Keynes, because I've been here for about a year now, and just trying to find a bunch of people to work with.
Did you reach out to the people that I mentioned?
Can't really. So like the crowdfunding stuff, I've looked at that, and some of that stuff. I think at least one of the sites I've already tried, and I think certainly with the crowdfunding stuff, it's like you need again, it's a lot of effort. It's like a sort of role in itself. But I've met a while ago, like Jason Impey, and I know people who know people in Myco. It's just getting wind of a project and seeing what skills I've got versus what is required.
Jason is always up and around, doing jobs here and there, a lot. MJ is busy with a lot of his feature films and projects, and he's a father. He's got 2 boys, and one of them has Angel syndrome. So he's definitely busy a lot. There are others that work alongside me, Jason, MJ, and other filmmakers, producer-wise. So I guess it's just a matter of finding out what they're doing, what projects they're currently working on, and if they need help with.
Yeah, and that's what I've been thinking about. Trying to start just a group of regular meetings, where you just invite creatives to meet maybe once a month or maybe once every 2 or 3 months, just to discuss I posted in, is it called Filmmakers Hub? I can't remember what else. I mean, I've joined so
In
many groups on
4.5
Facebook.
miles, exit onto junction 12 to M3.
Wasn't it the M3? It's on the M3.
The last post was finding a driver who is willing to drive me sort of outside Milton Keynes in certain locations. And you have seen my Ross Film Crew page.
Yeah.
And naturally, I'd get you involved if you're able to help out and whenever you're free.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, with the studio I work for, because of the way the shifts are allocated, I normally need to know sort of 6 to 8 weeks in advance of what, you know. And this is another reason why I can't always get involved with people's projects, because you know, they can be a bit more last minute than I can't.
That doesn't usually work with me. Mine is usually about 3 to 4 weeks, or 1 month tops.
I mean, there's a chance. I mean, but basically, I have to give my availability in for the next month in the middle of the previous month. So that's why I say like 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. Because you know, on like the 15th of this month, I'll have to tell them when I'm available next month.
Sounds like one of my oldest jobs at Gulliver's Land. When it's the middle of every month, they give us like a paper sheet to fill out and don't have a bloody clue. But that job was super bad.
Is it?
More ways than one.
Looks like quite a fun place to go to as a visitor, but maybe not to work at. What were you doing there?
I was a ride operator. But in 2014 I had enough after 3 years and left the job at the end of a summer holiday with no other job to go to. I just up and left. Job seekers allowance, and then I did a warehouse job at Magnum Park next to Milton Keynes from Christmas time. The new year in January, I was jobless again. And then a friend of mine who was currently working at Dobby's managed to get me a place to work there. And I was there for 6.5 years, and now I'm at Turtle Bay, which I've been there for about 1 year and 8 months. So I haven't been much jobs through my life. I've only been through like 3, maybe 4. Other jobs were like either a 1-day thing or one every week. Like when I had to get up early in the morning and scrub all these lorry drivers to clean them from like 5 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. Helping my dad as his assistant freelance carpenter.
You any good with carpentry?
Not really, no.
I was going to say, because that can be a good skill to have.
Comes in handy what I know, but I put it into a different use when I decided to become a filmmaker. I put it into practice in making props, because I've made swords out of wood and used like a jigsaw puzzle tool to cut my pieces, standing knives, sandpaper, a glue gun, a square file, nails.
In 1,000 feet, use the left 2 lanes to exit left onto junction 12 to M3.
I've still made props, especially weapons, out of scrap materials, plastic weapons and wooden weapons. But now that I'm
Exit to the left onto junction 12 to M3.
But now as I was getting older and more better use with my skills as a filmmaker, I decided to step it up a notch, upgrade myself, buying plastic weapons, and now I'm buying LARP weapons because it's much more easier and that it lasts than buying actual movie props. So they cost a lot of money, and some of them are very vulnerable, and I can't have one snapping on me. I'll still use plastic materials or wooden ones, but I'll still upgrade to using LARP, and that's what I've done with masks.
Average speed check zone ahead. In 1,000 feet. Use the right lane to keep right.
Yeah, Michael J. Murphy used to use a lot of masks in his films.
Keep right onto M3 towards Basingstoke.
Just because he could put different actors under the mask. Well, that was one of the reasons.
I've made use of the same way myself with very little people. Like one time I was trying to film a clash between two gang members on the open fields.
Entering average speed check zone.
In the open fields of Stony Stratford. This was back in 2012, and I only was able to get at least 4 people at a time, and so I managed to get them to change some clothings that they brought. I brought a few, like some hoodies and woolly hats and balaclavas, and I've even got myself on camera just to make out that I'm not an extra freelance person. Same thing with the whole mask changing as well. I'm short on people
Go straight on for 10 minutes to junction 4 to A331.
I was short on people filming in Wolverton, where the Agora was, which is no longer there now. So I got the actor who was playing the protagonist to play this goblin creature until he was killed off. So I've got my ways and skills and trickery on camera. But sometimes it's difficult trying to get everything to look the same or stay the same because of how long the project is. So I found ways around it, like get a haircut in the story, or the funny thing that Mark suggested was DLC.
Exiting average speed check zone.
Oh, what, like a
downloadable content for games.
That's quite a good one, actually.
Like the one currently, his son Jake, who's playing the role, and his hair is still quite long. It's like just as long as mine. But at some point, I'm gonna ask him to cut his hair when the next story arc begins, because I can't have him keeping blonde hair all the time. There will come a time that people change their hair, they get a haircut, they colour it. Like the actress Alice, she's coloured her hair every now and then, but she plays a black mage, which is like a spellcaster. When it comes to big projects, feature films, it's crucially important that everything stays the same.
Nice continuity in there.
Even Hollywood films have a bit of a problem with that.
Well, yeah, I mean, none of it's ever perfect, I don't think.
Every 2 years is better, or if you're doing a sequel after 10 years or 5 years, like Back to the Future, when they did part 2, Michael J. Fox is older and he's not looking like a right in her mid-20s when the first film came out. So it's working with that. Makeup, skincare, it helps as long as the person that's watching the film doesn't have visual perspective like my eyes do.
I mean, obviously, part of cinema is a suspension of disbelief anyway. So you have to kind of try and forget some things that you like, or see past them.
Yes.
But like you say, something is glaringly obvious and really difficult not to see past them.
Where they use the optical illusions, I think it's called. Independent filmmakers just have it rough.
Yeah, no, it's tough. It's like any sort of art, isn't it? It's tough because there's like no money basically. You know, it's like you've got to self-fund or crowd-fund. I mean, I suppose potentially you could pitch your idea to a studio, but then if they did want it, they'd want to like change it, and it wouldn't really be your project anymore. So it's tough.
The difficulty with the production of Mary Poppins. Or do the old-fashioned way and earn more money than you usually make through the normal channel. My way that I've managed to get ahead with my early filmings was through gambling. By playing roulette.
That's maybe not the best way, to be honest.
It's not as it sounds like, but if you study it, know how it works, you can win a lot of money, which I have walked away a lot more times than I have lost. I've only lost like 5 or 6 times, but compared to winning, it's like over 40 times.
Okay.
But the highest I've only got to was like £875, which is good enough to do another day's worth of filming on the same month. Because I was filming about 3 times every month. But as it gets more harder and difficult, with more actors playing protagonists, or if you need better props, better locations, more money to pay people, because I was only giving like £5 to people in the beginning, and we were all getting on the bus, because a lot of the times our filming was in Stony Stratford, which I was paying for. But as it got bigger, I needed actual actors, but thankfully I found some true friends who have helped me through the long run, and I've been paying them very well, especially men like Mark, because he's a fantastic man. I'm sure if you have the time to come and help me with my filming, you'll meet him one day.
Well, like I say, if I'm available, I'm available. If I'm not, is that a helicopter or
Yeah.
what's it myself?
He helps out with filmmakers too, because he's a sensei, so his martial arts is something people ask for a lot. My filming, the character uses martial arts skills although he said that my filming is very inconsistent, but I did explain that I'm not like maybe the filmmakers you've worked with, because I'm the underdog that's doing everything by myself.
Yeah.
I'm organising everything by myself, so of course there's going to be inconsistency because I don't get the help that I really need. There's no one who's willing to put effort into the effort that I put into it. And Mark even got his other younger son to help, but he's only helped me one time, playing these baby spider minions, attacking the villagers in Stantonbury.
Yeah.
I'm planning to get him back involved in my next filming, if he's available. Kind of also got to sway his mum as well, because she was concerned about it.
In what way?
Well, Mark and his younger son Joe, those two have been separated for years. So he gets spend time with his son, but naturally he lives with his mum. And she was concerned why he was all the way in Milton Keynes on a Sunday, and he's got school the next day.
Alright.
Or why he is even in Milton Keynes. And with a filmmaker, although I haven't had the chance to talk to her, but Mark has spoken to her, and I have helped Mark out and reassure him when we will finish, because there will be a
In
certain
half a
time.
mile, use the left lane to exit left onto junction 4 to A331.
Because there will be a certain time he will have to leave to
Yeah.
return back to Devon, because it's a 5 hours drive for him.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
Yes, he's been willing, although I pay him a lot for his car fuel, but he does drive us around in Milton Keynes, so he's my number
Exit to
one
the left
driver.
onto junction 4 to A331.
So he is my number one driver when we need to film in Milton Keynes, because he takes me in with the main cast.
Yeah.
Where if I need more people involved, the less
In
it's-
900 feet, at the roundabout take the second exit onto A331 South Blackwater Valley Road.
unless they live in Milton
At the
Keynes.
roundabout take the second exit onto A331 South
Sat-nav's always
Blackwater Valley
interrupting.
Road.
So unless they live in Milton Keynes, I need another driver,
Yeah.
which has only happened like once or twice.
I mean, as you can see, this car's not really, not very useful in terms of people, but you can get kit in the back.
Yeah, you can definitely take my props, because I always bring at least 2 big bags. Like one bag that has all the main cast's costumes, some of the clothings they wear, some accessories and their weapons. That's very nice. Looking at that abandoned place. I've passed by that once before, so it looks like they are knocking it down. Like one has daggers, which he's been using wood, but because in the Final Fantasy games, when you equip a new weapon, it shows up on the gameplay. Like I'm doing it by
Go
system.
straight on for 6 minutes to A31 towards Guildford.
I'm doing it by systematic from Final Fantasy X, so I don't have to bring 100 different kinds of weapons. He does get an upgraded weapon, which I've bought it from a LUP website called LUP Warriors, which is a trident weapon. It's just an ordinary dagger with like metal poles sticking at the side, so it represents trident fork. for a weapon. Mark at the moment wears these like fist gloves, but he does wear gauntlets, so he will wear these fist gauntlets. And the newest recruit and hero that joins the party, he wields a spear, so he's using my old-fashioned spear that I've made out of several scraps of plastic weapons and a broken broomstick. But even then I'll buy upgraded weapons. And the second bag is just monster props, masks and some costumes, like some body costumes, gloves, masks, a tail, wings. The more people involved, the more stuff I will have to bring, as well as my little drawstring bag that has everything, some food, drinks, the script, which we go over unless I've given them in advance, depending how much time it takes during each film session, date, whichever you call it. But nonetheless, if you can get one extra spare person in your car, you'll still be useful in taking all the bags with the props and costumes in. That's for sure. And who knows, maybe there's something else you'll be able to help with, which I never thought of.
Yeah. Well, like I say, we'll just have to see how things pan out, and if there's an opportunity arises, we'll see how we can get involved.
I am glad that you reached out to me, and I'm also very grateful that you've took the time to drive me. So thank you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
So how far are we at the moment?
It reckons we're going to get there at about midday, so we've got about another hour to go.
So we've got 2.9 miles to go.
No, that's to the next exit. It's the bottom bit. It's 47 miles.
7 miles.
You needed to stop off or anything.
I can use the toilet just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, if we see somewhere, we can pull over.
I can definitely hold it in for another hour. Well, if there is an opportunity, then I'll definitely take it. I did use the toilet a few times.
Yeah, no, whenever I do a journey like this, I just try not to drink anything for about 3 hours beforehand, because I know what my bladder's like.
Because of the early rise, I do get hungry again, even though I've had my breakfast. I just need like something with protein, like a burger.
Well, there's a burger place on the hill, on Portsmouth Hill, so when we're that way, maybe we can even go there first. Don't have to do anything in any particular order, do we? And the other thing I was thinking is, my mum lives about 10 miles away from Portsmouth, and I've got a parcel been delivered there, which I'll probably go and collect if I remember to. Well, if she's in.
Exit to the left onto
it'll only take
A81
like
towards Guildford.
half an hour to get there and back or something if we decide to do that. But we'll see how the day goes, and if we need to kill a bit of time, we could maybe just go to my mum's house and go and say hello to her and get a cup of tea or something.
I do not particularly want to stop by and see your mum and pick up your parcel.
Yeah. It's just like I say, it's we're coming back, if we don't leave before 4 p.m, which we probably won't, yeah, we probably won't, then we'll want to leave probably after 6 or 7, which is then quite a few hours of like, what do we do now then?
Well, I was going to suggest somewhere in the evening anyway.
Yeah.
So I want to check out as many locations as possible.
Exit to the left onto A31 towards
Left.
Guildford.
Besides the 3 you've mentioned, maybe perhaps 2 more for a total of 5.
Yeah, I mean, if we can find the places, but
Depending the distance.
yeah, as long as they're sort of localish to Portsmouth, then services in a third of a mile.
I have a hunch feeling I could find something that would be just right for me. I don't want, even if it ends up being a bus this trip, I am still very happy because it gets me out of Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I mean,
Get to see
it
new
gets
places.
you in the groove a little
In
bit, doesn't it?
3.2
for-
miles. Exit onto B3000 towards
Like I like
Portsmouth.
seeing the change in the whole
Right.
weather around us.
So I think the services are down here.
Weather changed like 6 times for me and my sister when we travelled down to Devon.
Right, yeah, I can imagine.
It was cloudy, it was sunny, then it was raining and hail,
Average speed check zone ahead.
and it was even snowing then.
There's a queue. I guess this is it. That was an Asda. Okay. Get some lunch then.
See if there's a toilet. If not, I'll just go in a bush somewhere.
There should be. They don't. Well, they normally have toilets at the services. That's funny. Somewhere park is going to be the issue. If you want to jump out and I'll park the car somewhere, I guess go in the Asda bit.
Yeah.
I think there's a space over there where the van's just got. Right.
Turn left.
All right.
Yes. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I've do this journey once a month or so, so I'm sort of used to it. Buckle up.
Need any grub? Drink?
No, like I say, what I think we can do is if we if you're looking for food, we can take like another hour, but
I actually brought food with me.
Go to the burger place and I'll get some chips or something. But yeah, if you want to eat, you can eat in the car or something.
I've got plenty to keep me going, but sometimes I need something solid. Like something that will take a few hours for your stomach acid to dissolve.
Yeah.
And I brought a few extras which I was willing to share with you, like
I'm alright at the moment.
like Pringles or cocktail. Or if you're a sweet
Go straight
person.
on for 5 minutes to
Alright.
A31.
I've got to be careful as well because like where I'm vegan as well, I don't have stuff with animal products in it. So I tend just to like look after myself with food and that.
I don't know much preference for what vegan people would want, but I thought
The difficulty, because although like obviously Pringles are mostly potato starch, they can have like milk powder in and stuff like that, so it's like
Entering
it's really
average
annoying.
speed check zone.
well, I just wanted to be nice and
But no, it's
share
cool.
something with
I
you.
appreciate the thought, definitely. But if you want to munch away, man. It's got quite warm, isn't it?
This jacket is usually somewhere autumn, winter wise because of the material that generates your body heat, and my body heat gets too high too easily, especially when I'm in the car. If I'm not too careful, depending if my stomach is empty of hunger and it's hot, then it's usually buffs up my car sickness.
Right. If you want to open a window, you can open the window as well.
I'm just about to.
Just make a lot of noise, but this car used to have air conditioning, but it failed a long time ago. It's really annoying. Used to feel like you were sitting in a fridge.
I don't rely on it no matter whose car I'm hopping to. suppose you're any good at artwork, drawing? We use computer AI.
Depends what you want to do. I mean, I haven't done any art for a lot, any like drawn or sort of. Yeah, I haven't done anything for a long time. I tend to do like YouTube thumbnails nowadays, so it's more like typography and that kind of stuff.
Because I'm currently looking for an artist who can make me some specific drawings to promote my film project, like once a month or something.
Go straight on onto 831 towards
I do have some which I've shown on my group page, but the person who was usually doing my artwork wanted to focus more
in
on
a
his own
quarter of a mile.
manga
Turn right
drawing.
onto down lane.
Yeah, you do need to find someone who's good at it and who can sort of commit to it, don't you? Yeah, well, I'm not sure I really have got the time or the talent, to be fair.
Turn right onto down
Just get
lane.
down there.
A little difficult to find a freelancer.
What about on somewhere like Fiverr?
In a quarter of a mile. Go straight on onto A3 towards Portsmouth.
On the A3, that's what I want. That's a strange way of getting to it. Did cut out a lot of the M25.
Go straight on onto A3 towards Portsmouth. Go straight on for 20 minutes to A3 towards Petersfield.
I know where we are now.
Well, your camera has certainly recorded good enough amount of film.
Yeah, still going. So do you want to go to the burger place first?
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yes. If I end up needing something solid in me, I've got crackers, good protein.
I think in that case then if we go to Old Portsmouth first, which has got the pillboxes. There's also a place to get a coffee there, which I want. And then we can go to Fox's Forest, because it's kind of on the way to Portsdown Hill. And then after we've done those three, we can see what else is around.
I like the sound of that. I did bring my samurai umbrella in case we were in the region area where it's raining.
Right, I've got a little rain jacket in my bag and stuff, so the weather's been highly variable, I think. the last really good film you saw was? Sort of like an 8 out of 10 or above. I know that's a difficult question because I'm trying to think of one as well.
I think that will have to go to the remake of It,
Okay.
Part 1.
Yeah, I've not seen that yet, I don't think.
Despite a few of its flaws and some editing mistakes, it's a very fantastic film. Exactly what we wanted. A few had to be cut from its original book, but that's okay.
Well, it's a big book, isn't it?
I give that my top rating.
I saw a film not that long ago, Emily the Criminal. That was pretty good. I like that. I'll give that an 8 out of 10. It's quite an ordinary film, but not at all. Voice.
Did you not bring any water or food of your
I've
own?
got water in my bag, but like I say, when I'm driving distance, I just drive.
You want me to grab it?
It's all good, man. All good.
As long as you're okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far now. We're on the A3. It's the easy bit. What sort of music do you listen to?
I usually like those before my time, somewhere in the 50s and upwards.
Okay.
I've been more into music listening in the 80s and the 90s, especially in the 90s. But a lot of my sort of favourites of music usually come from Japanese anime or from the Final Fantasy games,
Yeah.
because they are legendary, known for their touching music for different numeron numbers of the games, especially number 16, which I've been listening to. That has made the game very much enjoyable to its height, as they did say a lot of what they were putting into for Final Fantasy 16, the latest installment that came out 2 weeks ago, was going to have everything top notch. The music has always been top of their gates have just been up and down, but they've got back on track now with the release of Final Fantasy 16.
burger on Portsmouth Hill, you can see like all of Portsmouth.
I am fascinated by the seaside.
Right.
It's not that often I actually get to see the sea. I was like a child when I saw the seaside down near Brighton, where one of my aunties used to live. And then it was back to Brighton about 4 or 5 years ago, where one year I visited my auntie who moved somewhere near to Brighton. And then again in November that I mentioned. And it wasn't till I believe it was February where I saw it again down in Devon. With my sis. Here we go.
stony beaches, Portsmouth. Feeling a bit better, a bit cooler.
Yes. I think I told you this at the cafe, but I have one of many of my genetic mutations is that I can generate much more heat than the average human.
Yeah.
That's why you see me. That's why people here will see me do crazy things to stay cool off. Even to the point of shaving my whole body hair. Or a cold shower, glycerin everywhere. Thankfully, the heat wave has cooled off until some of it will return.
Yeah, I think so.
Or if the timing is right, I'll be hibernating at home where I can stay cool. It's just if I'm at work, I have that difficulty, and then it's gasping for air.
Yeah. But obviously, the sunshine brings the best lighting as well, generally. So that's tricky.
Maybe too much lighting, especially if you're in an angle where you're filming. What I do want most is to have the good enough lighting to be able to see people in the dark whilst filming.
Right.
Thankfully, this phone that I've inherited from my mum has the lighting on it. There's also a big, strong torch I've got. But the reason I only bought that is because I do my urban exploring. I haven't done so in a few years because of the whole COVID issue. There's some places in Milton Keynes I could check out. I'm not so sure yet. Like the Bletchley police station, which is now abandoned. But I only heard yesterday that somebody tried to set it on fire. I don't know what the state of it, but I doubt there's not going to be a chance for me to go in and explore, because I really would love to explore at a police office or a police station. There's
Yeah.
also the Santander office in the same roundabout near the police
Yeah.
station, which is now abandoned.
You know, got a new Santander building, so is that related to that? I don't know.
Besides some of the places that I've already done a few years back that are still standing, I haven't got myself out there yet. Once I do this update video, then I'll start uploading what I've already filmed that's just sitting there. Urban exploring is not the strong suit, but I needed something to buff up my channel with some entertainment.
Yeah, yeah.
People enjoy stuff like that.
Yes, it can definitely be popular, to watch. People are fascinated by it. I've watched ones where people explore like abandoned cinemas and stuff. I find that's quite interesting. You find the projection rooms and stuff and old film still there. channel name?
I think it's Exploring with AP. There's another YouTuber that does the same thing, but that guy pretty much just piggybacks from other people, doesn't really do anything of his own. He's called Adventures of Paul. He's from Netherfield. I've seen him around a few times, but never really spoken to. AP I've seen. Not sure what the tip of the tongue his name is, but I have seen him now and then. He's kind of also piggyback from me as well, from my YouTubes, like some exploring videos. Like one of them was the Mercury House, that big large building in Bletchley, which is just opposite across the road from the police station. I had the fortune of managed to explore the place before they had the men working on it, turning it into flats or apartments. But this was just like a week before the actual COVID hit the UK. There was the skip that was next to this big glass, and it was already smashed in. So all I had to do was just move the skip and just carefully step through this big opening through the glass. The glass was super strong. The opening was big enough for someone to just hop in through the leg. Yeah. But you had to do it carefully.
Did you explore alone, or do you have people with you?
I've done it alone because I find it better to do it alone, to not draw too many attention to yourself. And it's easier for other people to not fuck around or steal stuff that's left behind. And that way I can get everything done by my own terms. But naturally, I haven't checked any places since. That's why, now that COVID is not a worldwide pandemic and we're pretty much on the other side of it, I can finally get back into it.
Yeah.
Because I was prioritising money, looking after my mum, because she was at high risk. Of course, the COVID was mutating like 5 times. Even then, it was affecting my filming because we had to isolate. It was like we had 2 lockdowns. Then it was being several feet from everyone. Even though my actors were standing right next to each other, but it was a short time and they were confident. And I still had my kit, sanitizers, chemical sprays, heavy duty cloths, masks. And I definitely didn't caught the COVID, that's for sure, because I'm very healthy and I've got my jabs.
Yeah, I had my jabs. I'm pretty sure I caught it 2 or 3 times, or variations of it, but the weaker variants. I don't know. So there's a couple of times it just felt so ill for like a week.
My face mask was a proper one. It was like a proper ninja mask. But I bought that a couple of years ago, before the actual COVID hit, and I just dug it out from my bags of all costumes and props and accessories, because it was going to be used for my main villain, but until I decided to get had other ideas or suggestions, Snowdonia has been the perfect idea for
Yeah, I mean for mountains and stuff. I mean, I know like the South Downs is full of hills and kind of like more like New Zealand though, isn't it? It's green and hilly, rather mountain is like rocky. So.
In the story, when the Stantonbury story is all done and dusted with, our heroes will be travelling to the next village, and Draco the Dragoon has joined the party. So to get to the next village they have to cross the mountain range, which is part of the whole dungeon run mechanic in the games. And then my next filming will take place in Great Linford, which is just right next door to Stantonbury. And then I don't have to worry anything else like that, because the next part will be a forest, which I can just go to Linford Woods. Everything else has just been like a skip ahead to the next story without having to do anything like exploring a cave or a mountain. Oh, nice. It's the abandoned
Swimming pool. Well, that'll be Hillsey Lido. That's on so Hillsey Lines is kind of the opposite. It's kind of very well, we can check that out. We can check out Hillsey Lines actually. It's very close.
very nice. Never thought I'd catch it with my own eyes. I don't suppose there's a Morrison's down here.
Oh, there will be somewhere. There's one near where my mum lives, which is not here, obviously.
If it's alright, I would like to stop by there before we make our journey back.
Yeah. I mean, like I say, if we're going to see my mum, then I can get petrol from there as well. So yeah, then we can just, if we make my mum the last stop.
So I want to pick up some 6 pints of milk and also buy a cooked chicken there for my dinner. Because I don't have anything at home. I don't really like those flats. Those olden style houses.
There's a mixture in Portsmouth of old and new, like very, very old, some of it.
I take it you've heard about the Mellish Court,
No.
the block of flats. They finally taken it down. just like the one that's called the Gable in Wolverton.
Right.
They're not up to standards ever since the Grenfell Tower incident.
Right.
So they've taken it all down now. I've never been in the Gable, and now I wish I should have. But the Mellish Court, I've been in there before, because two of my friends lived there a long time ago. And I did my filming in there. Same project, Five Fancy Trinity. Climbing up the blocks of flats by fighting these Kawaga thugs and these guard hounds. In a way, I am still pleased that I managed to film these places, or film standing in the places, or use them for filming, because then I can always look back upon before they end up disappearing.
Yeah, things definitely change over the years.
Like the Agora in Wolverton, I wasn't very happy about that. And of course, the Point, they are trying to get rid of that, for sure.
Right. What's up with the Point? What are they saying wrong with it?
Well, they're saying that it doesn't live up to its modern time, but it's perfectly fine as it is. It's part of our heritage. They can do it up and put some retail shops in there, but the council are not doing that.
Right.
They've been greedy for a few decades with money, but they're not doing anything right for the places what we need. They're just putting up flats and apartments everywhere.
Yeah.
And the Point at the moment is still standing. So there's still been a wobble dispute contracts, but we won't know for a while longer what they're going to do with it, because the percentage is that there's still a favouritism to knock it down. And there's still some saying that you should just fix it and upgrade it, put retail shops in it, make it last. There's also that abandoned cinema, which ever since the Escape was built, Cineworld built into it, that they lost their profits.
Yeah.
It's useful for film location too. It's just a matter of what's going on and what will happen.
Yeah. Well, I guess time will tell. Normally go down that road, that's typical.
Is that road the direction we need to go to? still drive through on that far right, or was that block off also?
Depends which bit's closed, isn't it? No, that's for coming round, isn't it? Yeah, no, that's
No luck.
typical. How do we get over there then? Jeez.
I guess you'll have to slightly go back.
Unless you
on
don't
the
mind a bit
road.
of a walk, but hang on, let's just see if sometimes Waze knows what's going on with the traffic and stuff. So, what do we want? What's it called? Portsmouth.
If it's not too far, we can walk it.
Yeah, I'd rather not though, because it's, you know, well, it's a nice day, isn't it? Anyway, let me just see if Waze can find it. What's the pub called?
Let's go.
See if
Turn
Waze can
right.
get us there.
Then turn right.
Turn right, and yeah, that doesn't know about the blocked road, does it?
Turn left onto A288 Bellevue Terrace. In 900
does
feet,
know.
at the roundabout, turn left onto B2154 Museum Road.
Oh yeah, of course, down Museum Road. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's all work.
At the roundabout, turn left onto B2154 Museum Road. In 800 feet, at the roundabout, turn left onto A3 High Street. At the roundabout, turn left onto A3 High Street.
sort my parking out before I forget. Okay. Yeah, we're very close to kind of up around there, but